When I'm not riding bikes, I'm also a bit of a watch nerd, and one of my favorite watch YouTubers has launched a series he calls The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So I'm going to completely steal his idea for the latest addition to my watch collection, the Polar Grid X Pro. This is the fourth Polar I've reviewed. I started with the Vantage V, then the first Grid X, and my last dance with Polar was the Vantage V2. All of them were actually pretty good, but as I mentioned in my review of the insanely robust Vantage V2, there was room for improvement. And I secretly wanted something with all those features that looked less like a Fitbit and more like a real watch. At the time, the Grid X's functionality didn't match the V2, which was a bit of a disappointment. Fast forward to the Grid X Pro, and it's exactly what I asked for, a V2 in a Grid X wrapper. You get military spec durability with a real sapphire crystal and insane battery life, like 7 days worth. In other words, it looks like a watch, it wears like a watch, but it's oh so much more. And for me, that's where the good, bad, and ugly kind of starts. First off, I've had this watch for several months, and I haven't even scratched the surface on all the features. You get all the greatest hits from previous models: music control, leg recovery, preloaded workouts, and probably one of the most feature-packed activity and sleep trackers you can buy. There's also performance and recovery testing, and it has Precision Prime OHR GPS tracking built in. That means you'll always know where to go with turn-by-turn guidance and built-in GPS. It also has a track-back feature to help you find your way home. The baked-in GPS also means you have access to an altimeter, GPS coordinates, a compass, and weather updates, including daylight and sunset times. Further, you can gauge your training load, set hydration and nutrition reminders, and it'll notify you when you get just about any smartphone notification, from Slack to Ring and everything in between. This is all very, very good. But here's where it gets bad, for me at least. It's just too much for my middle-aged brain to handle. And like I said, in the 6 or so months that I've owned this watch, I haven't used 70% of the features. And it's not for a lack of trying. I've been super active, but I'm also super short on time these days, so going down the rabbit hole with the device just isn't on my checklist anymore. Would I benefit from all those fitness tests and recovery tracking? Oh, without a doubt, but to be honest, I simply don't have the motivation for that stuff anymore. But that's all on me. Empirically, it doesn't take away from how amazing this device really is. Okay, so by now I'm sure you're wondering about the ugly in this good, bad, ugly sandwich. Well, here it is, and it's two things. Like before, I think the Polar Flow app and the syncing process stinks, but I think that's because they're trying to stuff 50 pounds worth of available data into a 5-pound app. There's just too many permutations for all the available data. And again, I don't have the time, the motivation, or the patience to sit down and make the most of it anymore. So it's all kind of wasted on me. But probably the ugliest thing, and it's a really simple thing to fix, is this. When it's on my wrist and my hands are on the handlebars, I can't read the screen because it simply doesn't have enough contrast. The dark background mixed with the light gray numbers is terrible. And if you add in any glare off the crystal, it's totally illegible and useless. All they need to fix this is a simple reversal of the colors. Give me a bright white screen with dark, bold, black letters. I don't care if that means I get 4 days of battery instead of 7. I simply don't wear it on the bike anymore because it's only useful before and after the ride. Unless, of course, I'm using the music feature, which I use quite often, which is the one thing that kept it on my wrist, because being able to wear AirPods and control the volume without digging around for my phone in my back pockets is actually very cool. At the end of the day, I'm an analog kid in a digital world, and I think the Grid X Pro is just too damn smart for me. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Anyway, bad unintentional puns aside, let me know in the comments if you have any questions about Polar or smartwatches in general. I can't be the only one that feels this way, right? So I'd love to hear your feedback. Okay, see you next time.